that intro so much. I've just been vlogging this past week, so it's so weird to actually be able to like do my normal intro. Booktube-A-Thon is over! It's over! What to do with my life now? Just like not read a book a day? Anyways, okay, this is my Booktube-A-Thon wrap up. Are you ready to see everything I read? I didn't read 7 books, but I read a lot, so I'm really proud of myself. You guys, I read all of this in a week. I read all of this in a week. Who am I? Like, what? This is normally like how much I've been reading in a month while in school, so like I'm so incredibly proud of myself, and I hope to continue. Like I'm on such a roll right now with just reading that like this Booktube-A-Thon has just like propelled me into this book spiral of just reading all the time now. If you guys could tell, I read majority, just like 4/5 of all the books that I read are just Leigh Bardugo books. Yes, I read 5 books, 4 of them being Leigh Bardugo books, and 1 of them being a graphic novel, and I'm just so proud of myself, you guys. First book that I read that I actually started Sunday night, and Booktube-A-Thon started Monday at midnight, so I kind of cheated a little bit. I said I wasn't going to cheat and count this book, but you know what? I read like about 100 pages of this during Booktube-A-Thon, so I'm still gonna count it because, like, yeah. Season Storm by Leigh Bardugo. This book was fantastic. I read it literally in, like I said, like I started it Sunday night and finished it Monday, so like in less than a day I finished this book. It wasn't my favorite. Like, okay, if I could rate all, you know what, I'll just like review all of the 3 books in the Grisha series at once, because that's like the easiest way to do this. If you don't know what the Grisha trilogy is about, it's a fantasy book that has to do with these people called Grisha who have magical abilities. There's different types of Grisha. Some can control water, some can control fire, some can like kill you by just like putting their hand in front of you. It's awesome, okay? I don't want to spoil it for you. There's so much magic and just like magical fantasy elements in it that you just want to read it and you don't want to spoil it yourself. So anyways, I read Shadow and Bone like 3 days before Booktube-A-Thon. I started this the night before Booktube-A-Thon, and I read this on like the 2nd and the 3rd day of Booktube-A-Thon. My overall rating for this series is 9 out of 10. It is one of my new favorite fantasy series. It was so good. Like, it was just, I was blown away, and I was so sad that I didn't read these books sooner, because I had the first book on my bookshelf forever, and I finally got to it, and it was so, it definitely lived up to the hype for me. The first book in the series I'm giving an 8 out of 10. The second book in the series I decided a 6 out of 10, and then the last book in the series I'm giving a 9 out of 10 because it was just fantastic. I said this in my vlog videos, if you guys have been keeping up with my vlogs for Booktube-A-Thon, but the second book for me was just suffered a little bit from middle book syndrome, which basically just means it was really slow, and this book series is actually a lot slower than most fantasy books, but it did not lack action at all. It was like the perfect pace for me. The second one was just a little bit slow, so I took off a few points for that. Overall, the plot was fantastic. I did not ship the shipped characters in the book. Like, that's the only thing I have to say, is like this was like one of those fantasy books where I just absolutely did not ship the main characters at all. Like, I was just like, no, I don't want you guys to be together. Even after finishing the Grisha trilogy, I still don't ship the characters that ended up being together. For anyone who's read it, you know who I'm talking about, okay? You know who I'm talking about. Shortly after reading the Grisha trilogy, I read the 6 of Crows duology, and oh my god, okay, I'm gonna try and not to, like, talk about this for like 20 minutes straight, because I literally could do that. They're so good. I read 6 of Crows straight after, and oh my god, 6 of Crows is an 11 out of 10 book, you guys. This book is as good as all of Sarah J. Maas's, like, the Court of Thorns and Roses series. Like, it is just fantastic. I love it. This book, compared to the Grisha trilogy, I loved the characters in this book a million times more than the characters in the Grisha trilogy. I really liked the characters in the Grisha trilogy, but it just seemed like the characters in 6 of Crows were just so much more developed and so much more like physical characters. Like, I could actually imagine them being real people, and just they were so much more developed in this book than I feel like the characters in her first series. It was just like, wow, it was fantastic. It was like, this book is a heist book. We follow a bunch of like just delinquents, I guess you could say. Is that the right word? That doesn't sound like the right word, but each of these characters just have their own backstory, their own histories, and Leigh Bardugo just did such a great job of just creating these full body characters. I feel like I could just talk about the characters forever, but this book was fantastic, and the second book, Crooked Kingdom, was just, these are both 11 out of 10 books, you guys. Like, when I finished Crooked Kingdom, I was just so happy, like just this like fulfillment, okay? For anyone who's following my blogs, you know that this book was actually misprinted for me, so I got to page 340 and after that I couldn't continue reading it because the rest of the books were printed incorrectly and 50 pages were missing, so I had to finish the rest of, I think there was like 200. Oh, that's the other thing. This is like a 500 and something page book. My book only goes up to 400 and something, so there's a lot of pages missing in this. Like, I don't know what happened to my copy, you guys, but I'm gonna have to get a new one. So I finished the rest of the book in ebook form, and it was just, oh, it was fantastic. And like the way, like, I was really sad because I'm like, I don't want this duology to end, like, it's so good. But the way Leigh Bardugo ended Crooked Kingdom, she left a lot of things open-ended, so I feel like we're gonna get more in this series. Like, I'm praying we get like another like trilogy or another duology in this world with these characters because it was so good. Especially Crooked Kingdom, because in Crooked Kingdom we have the characters from this book and all the characters from the Grisha trilogy, the first 3 books, came back in the last book, and it was just like this group of all of my favorite characters. It was gold. It was solid gold, you guys. Anyways, if you guys know, I know Language of Thorns is coming out, which is Leigh Bardugo's new book, which I'm expecting in the mail soon, if it comes. But if you guys, let me know if you guys know if Leigh Bardugo plans on writing more books in the Grisha world, because I feel like she is, but I'm just so new to the fandom that I don't, like, I just started following Leigh Bardugo, so I don't know, I'm not in the circle of the know, you know? Lastly, I read a graphic novel. I read The Spill Zone by Scott Westerfeld. This is a 10 out of 10 graphic novel. It was so good. Like, I'm still getting used to reading graphic novels, so I finished this book in like 45 minutes, and I was just not used to like finishing something so quickly. It was just really weird for me, but this book was fantastic, and I wish like this whole story was in novel form, because even though I've already read the graphic novel, like, I would love to see Scott Westerfeld write this whole story in an actual novel form, but it was so good, so dark and creepy. This whole week has just been, every book that I've read this week has been fantastic. The whole Booktube-A-Thon for me was just a huge success, and I finally got to read some of these books that have been on my shelf for a while. But anyways, that is my Booktube-A-Thon wrap up. That's it, you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much for following along with my Booktube-A-Thon reading, and until next Booktube-A-Thon, keep reading, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye!